Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. I can't believe we're stepping into a brand new year already. Time truly flies, right? When I launched this podcast in July of 2023, I had no idea how much it would grow or how much I would learn along the way. And if you're new here, welcome to the Exam Room Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Colleen. I'm a PA, dietitian, and your nutrition mentor. Now, today's episode is all about new beginnings, and I want to cover two main things. First of all, I'm going to be sharing some exciting updates and changes coming to the podcast in 2025 that I think you're going to love. Then we're going to dive into New Year's goals with some actionable strategies to guide both you and your patients in setting goals that truly stick. There's something magical about this time of the year. Most of us are feeling refreshed, relaxed, and mentally clear after the holidays. It's the perfect moment to reflect, reset, and set intentional goals. And the public thinks so too. Google searches for the word diet spike by over 82% at the start of the year. Now, why? Behavioral scientists call this the fresh start effect. It's the idea that a new week, month, or year creates a psychological clean slate, or a moment we feel more motivated to leave behind past mistakes and step into our ideal selves. Researchers have even found that we're 145% more likely to commit to new goals during these fresh start moments. And because my goal is to help you lead your patients toward better health, the second half of this episode is all about strategies for goal setting, both for you and your patients. So before we dive into the goals conversation, let me share some updates about what's coming to the podcast this year. Now, as you know, I release weekly episodes, alternating between teaching solo on nutrition topics and interviewing incredible dietitians. But starting this year, I'm shaking things up a bit and experimenting with some different formats. You'll still get actionable nutrition tips in every episode, but some weeks may feature shorter episodes or insights from blogs I've written, while others might be deep dives into trending diet topics. Now, I want every episode to be just the right amount of information, so you'll walk away feeling like it was worth every minute of your time. Now, you may be thinking, why the change? Well, starting January 8th, I'm also launching Nutrition Grand Rounds. These will be monthly webinars taught by top nutrition experts on a variety of topics. These sessions will go deeper than the podcast, with detailed presentations, slide decks, printables, and of course, the recordings. And here's the best part. You'll be able to submit questions in advance or join live for real-time interaction with the experts. So this month, we're kicking things off with two powerhouse dietitians talking about nutrition for bone health and how to prevent osteoporosis in female patients. With so much focus on weight loss, bone health often gets overlooked, but it's such a crucial area for overall health and longevity. Future workshops will cover topics like food addiction, PCOS, GLP-1 medications, and more. And because I want as many people as possible to join, I've priced this ridiculously low. So if you're interested, head over to nutritiongrandraounds.com to check it out and sign up. That's nutritiongrandraounds.com, and I will link to it in the show notes below. Now, before we get into today's topic of goal setting, I wanted to say thank you. So many of you have emailed, left reviews, or shared my social media content over the past year, and your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it's honestly what keeps me going. So if there's a topic you'd like me to cover, or even if you just want to say hello, don't hesitate to email me at colleen@examroomnutrition.com or shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm at examroomnutrition. I would love to hear from you. Okay, so it's the new year, and you know what that means. New year, new me is all the rage. So do you love it or hate it? Personally, I love it. There's just something magical about the hope and possibility that comes with January 1st. Think about it. By the end of 2025, your entire life could look completely different. And I think that's exciting. 2 years ago, I didn't even have a podcast. And now by the end of 2025, I will have over 150 episodes, a CME course, monthly webinars. Oh, and I'll be teaching my 15-year-old how to drive. Please pray for me. But seriously, the new year is so exciting. Now, I don't usually set specific health goals, but I've worked with hundreds of patients who do, whether it's losing weight, eating healthier, or just feeling better. And for me, it's all about building a year that I'm proud of. Because let's face it, we don't really get a lot of years, and I want to make them count. So today, I'm going to share my simple 4-step framework that you can use personally and with your patients. We're going to look back, look forward, add, and subtract. So step 1, look back. This is where you'll reflect on the past year. So before even jumping into what's next, take a moment to reflect on everything that happened this past year. Celebrate how far you've come rather than obsessing over what's left. Have your patient write down everything they did or experienced in 2024 that was awesome. Now, something that helps to shift our mindset from focusing on things that we didn't accomplish or achieve to thinking about all of the things that we did achieve is to shift from the gap to the gain. And this actually comes from a book titled The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan. And we're often stuck measuring ourselves against the ideal, which is the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But research shows it's better to measure backwards, focusing on the gains we've made. This simple mindset shift builds confidence, satisfaction, and momentum. So I would encourage your patients to track their wins daily. Write 2 or 3 wins every day, no matter how small, so that next year, when you do this exercise about reflecting on all of the things that you've accomplished or experienced, it'll be easy to see how far they've come. The other thing I like to do as I'm reflecting on the year past is to reframe any challenges I've had as actual gains, because there are always lessons to be learned in tough experiences. Now, I did an entire podcast episode on how to reframe failures, and I think it'll be a great one to listen to after this. So it's episode 45 called A Mindset Shift for Overcoming Dieting Failures, and I will link to it in the show notes. All right, step 2, we're looking forward. This is where we envision the year ahead. So you can ask yourself and your patients, who do you want to be this year? Or what do you want to achieve? Now, having a vision is powerful, but without a clear plan, it's just a dream. So help your patients break down their big goals into small, actionable steps they can work on daily. The more specific and realistic the plan, the better their chance of sticking to it. Now, I have a few ways to do this at the end of the episode. So step 3, add. We need to think, what can we add to our lives? New habits start by focusing on what to add rather than what to take away. It's much easier adding good things than taking away old habits. So for example, instead of just saying, I want to eat healthier, how about we say, I'll eat 1 more serving of veggies with lunch each day, or I'll drink an extra glass of water in the afternoon. Maybe they want to add movement, so they'll walk for 10 minutes after lunch or after dinner. Specificity is key here. How much, how often, and when will this happen? The simpler, the better. Now, I did a really deep episode on goal setting last year that would be worthwhile to listen to. It's episode 42 called 7 Traps of Goal Setting and How to Avoid Them. And the link will be in the show notes for you, so you can listen to that next. All right, step 4, subtract. What can we let go of in 2025? This is equally important to what to add, is identifying what is not serving you right now. Maybe it's eating out less, snacking less, or just cutting back on soda. Or maybe it's detoxing your social media feed to remove toxic influencers. I love this one. For patients, this could mean letting go of crash diets or unrealistic expectations. Help them focus on small, sustainable changes that can add up over time. And sometimes that means we have to let go of some things. All right, so how do we help our patients set goals? Like I mentioned earlier, I really think episode 42, that goal setting episode, will be really helpful because I go through some practical, actionable steps that you can work on with your patient. But if your schedule is full of patients ready to make 2025 their healthiest year yet, here are a few quick tips to guide them. Now, I want to make something crystal clear. Not everyone needs to make a resolution just because it's the new year. Although it is common because of the fresh start effect, that psychological concept I mentioned earlier that suggests people are more likely to initiate positive changes and pursue goals when they perceive a new beginning, like the start of a new year. If your patient isn't feeling it right now, give them permission not to set any goals if they aren't ready. This makes me think of my best friend. She had a horrible 2024 with health issues and relationship trauma, and it was just one thing after the next. And she's going into 2025, still healing from all of those. And she's just not in the right mindset to work towards achieving something new. She's just going to kind of coast. And I think that is absolutely okay. So give your patient permission not to set any goals, at least right now. Now, some patients don't do well with year-long goals, so I would suggest introducing the concept of quarterly goals. So this is where goals are broken up into smaller actionable steps, and this is actually how a lot of businesses run their goals and track their metrics. So they start with a big picture goal for the year, then they break it into 4 quarterly objectives, and then they divide each quarter into monthly or weekly steps. Now, this structure keeps progress manageable and helps patients see wins early. Setting a goal to lose 50 pounds by the end of the year is too far away to reap any reward. But if your patient aims to eat fish twice a week for the first month, leafy greens every day for the second month, an apple and peanut butter as a snack the third month, you get where I'm going, they will reap the reward sooner and they'll be well on their way to their end of the year goal. Now, I actually do quarterly goals because this fits my personality and my lifestyle a lot better than making those year-long goals. Plus, things change, right? Maybe you move and you weren't expecting to. Maybe you get laid off and you weren't expecting to, and then your goals are derailed. So I think creating those short-term goals are really, really effective. And lastly, I want you to emphasize behavior over outcomes. Their goals should empower action. So for example, instead of just saying, I want to lose 10 pounds, help your patients focus on daily behaviors like eating more fiber or walking after dinner, instead of just focusing on weight loss. Now, before I wrap up, let me share 3 nutrition tips that you can pass along to your patients who maybe asked you at the end of the visit, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. What would you suggest? So here are a few quick tips that you can provide that would be super helpful. The first one is discussing the difference between fat loss and weight loss. Help your patients focus on fat loss and muscle gain. This is going to lead to better blood pressure, insulin sensitivity, and of course, overall health. We're a culture that is hyper fixated on weight loss, but we often miss the point. What we actually should achieve is fat loss and muscle maintenance, while at the same time promoting cognitive, bone, and heart health. These will ultimately lead us to a fulfilling, healthy life. Second is prioritize protein and fiber. Now, protein needs will vary from person to person, but fiber should be at least 25 grams daily for women and 35 for men. More is even better, but start slow. And if your patient does nothing else but focus on having sources of fiber and protein every day, they'll greatly improve their health in 2025. And lastly, minimize the big 3: added sugar, fried foods, and excess salt. The goal is to get these bad boys down as much as possible. And this is where getting to know your patient and to know where they're getting hung up on their diet is really, really important. One question I love to ask patients is, what are you drinking throughout the day? And if they say they're drinking coffee drinks or sodas and teas, I will pull up how much sugar is in those drinks and suggest alternatives that still satisfy them, but offer much less sugar. So that's a really good place to start. So there you have it. Look back, look forward, add, subtract. Whether you're setting goals for yourself or helping patients craft theirs, these steps make the process simple and effective. And remember, if you or your patients ever feel stuck, reflect on the gains and celebrate the progress you've already made. That positivity alone can be the fuel for a great year ahead. I'm cheering you on, friend. Happy New Year, and let's continue to make our patients healthier in 2025, one exam room at a time. I'll see you next time.